You expect prison to hurt in the yard or the cell. You don't expect it to haunt you in the showers with a man who never moved. I picked a corner shower head, back against the wall, eyes down. That felt safest until I noticed him, tall, wiry, completely dry, no towel or soap, just standing there like part of the tile. At first I thought he was waiting for his turn, but minutes passed and he didn't move. His eyes drifted around the room, never landing, like a camera searching for its angle. A lifer smirked when I mentioned it. Every block's got a statue. Ignore it. I tried, but the next night he was there again. Same spot, same posture, same dead stillness. I switched stalls, thinking distance would help. He shifted too. Always to stalls back. Always dry. My skin crawled worse than the mildew spreading in the grout. My chest felt wired tight. Guard sat outside, flipping a magazine. "If he ain't touching you, ain't my problem," he muttered without looking up. His indifference weighed heavier than the dripping pipes around me. Inmates started calling him the mirror because he reflected fear but showed none, my cellie warned. Don't engage. Don't acknowledge. But curiosity is sharp, gnawing holes I couldn't patch. I tried changing schedules earlier. Later, middle of the night, didn't matter. It was always there, like he lived inside the steam, like the showers were his domain, and we were trespassers. Some guys joked, "You got a fan?" Nobody laughed long. I noticed he never wore shower shoes. His bare feet planted perfectly on dry grout lines, like he knew exactly where not to get wet. That detail unsettled me more than the stare. I hummed to fill the silence, voice cracking. He tilted his head, curious, then finally spoke. "You always pick the corner." My throat closed. "Easier to watch my back," I muttered. He didn't smile, didn't blink. "Corners hide nothing," he whispered. I bolted out with soap still clinging to my skin. My cellie shook his head. "Oh, he knows you noticed. Sleep abandoned me." Every drip became footsteps. In dreams, endless halls of showers stretched, and he stood at every turn, dry and waiting. I tried skipping showers, but hygiene is dignity, and dignity is survival. I couldn't avoid forever. When I returned, he was closer to the exit, blocking the path everyone had to take. Inmates hunched as they passed him, eyes glued to the floor. I rehearsed walking past in my head, but in reality, my knees locked, waited for a bigger man to shield me. The mirror never fought, never shouted, but everyone gave him space, as though he carried invisible knives. Rumors spread: murderer, arsonist, mute monk. None explained why he stalked the showers. One night he whispered, "Thursday, new soap." My stomach dropped. He had memorized my routine. I snapped, "Mind your business." His calm reply, "I am." My hand shook until morning count. Next day, I tore labels off my soap. Pointless armor. Guard shrugged. "Showers are quiet. That's enough." It didn't feel his eyes. That night, he stepped closer, one stall over, bone dry. I avoided corners, tried middle stalls, shuffled routines. None mattered. He adjusted angles, always within sight lines. It felt like invisible strings tied us, each night pulling tighter around my chest. Inmates teased again. "Guess you got protection." Protection felt like a cage, too. Thought about PC protective custody, but that cage was worse. I stayed enduring. Endurance never meant peace. Weeks stacked. It was constant, as steady as bleach stench. Drains gurgled like swallowed voices. Ceiling leaks always aimed straight for me. In my head, I marked tallies for each night survived. My reflection blurred in steel mirrors, warped by steam. But his figure never blurred. It was always sharp, defined, undeniable. I hated him for being more solid than me. I cracked one night. "Why me?" My voice echoed, brittle. He blinked slow, 'cause you notice, not praise. A sentence. "What do you want?" I asked. "Consistency," he said. I rinsed faster than ever and fled. My chest rattled like loose metal. Fear soaked deep into bone. Even in daylight, the smell of bleach dragged me back under dripping ceilings. Guards enforced 5-minute limits. Inmates cursed, felt relieved. But the mirror didn't obey clocks. He stood there dry, perfectly timed, proving he didn't need water to measure me. A fight broke near the sink shoves. Curses, blood. He didn't flinch. Violence was background noise to him. My panic was solo performance. I wanted to vanish, but stood frozen in spotlight. I forced a smile at others, trying normalcy. Smiles cracked and fell, puddled useless. A radio blared sitcom themes, but humor died under fluorescent buzz. His stare cut through every note. I whispered to Drains. 3 minutes left. 2, 1. The Drains swallowed prayers, burped silence back. Rituals kept me upright. Fear gnawed fresh holes every night anyway. Once my towel slipped, I caught it, heat flooding my neck. His gaze drilled my spine. He hadn't moved. Courtesy terrified worse than threats when he stepped aside. Exact inches measured. Enough space to pass, nothing more. Precision like shackles. After that, he returned to his usual stall. Still, his words looped in my head like a curse. Corners hide nothing. Those words tattooed my thoughts. I avoided mirrors, still warped my face. But his image never warped. Even absent, he remained. Especially absent. He became the shape of absence itself. Transfers came. I moved to another block. New showers, new leaks, cracked tiles. Still, I searched steam for him. My nerves demanded it. Muscles braced for a figure to appear. None did. Relief felt hollow. Freedom months later felt faker. At home, my first shower hit hardest. Steam fogged glass, chemicals burned, heart sprinted. I checked corners, drains, shadows. Nothing but silence. Still, I swore I felt eyes. I turned water hotter, skin burning, but heat didn't erase memory. Shadows clung anyway, whispering he had followed me out. Dripping at night carries his rhythm, same as prison pipes. My chest knots instantly, I mutter. You're free. Free feels fragile, like bubbles ready to pop. Therapists ask, what scared you most? They expect knives, riots, gangs, I say. Showers. They frown, scribble notes, never understand. I stopped explaining. Easier to rot with memory inside. Once I dreamed him speaking, you breathe faster when afraid. I woke gasping, lungs locked, heart thrashed until dawn. Daylight gave no mercy. Sunlight painted tiles white in my head. And memory doesn't rinse. I never learned his real name, never wanted to. The mirror was enough. He mirrored panic, rituals, desperation. I hated him, feared him, and needed him. Steam feels heavier now, pressing, suffocating. I towel off, shaking, always checking doors, always listening, same as inside.
No difference.
The cage just changed shape. I family asks, you okay? I nod. Lie. I can't say their bathroom is haunted. Not by ghosts, by repetition. By him, the man who never left. The man who still waits. Showers should be relief. To me, they're trials. Every droplet is a countdown. Every echo a warning. I dread them, delay them, but the body demands water. The mind demands escape. Sometimes I swear I see him in fogged glass, in corner shadows, in dripping reflections. I blink. Gone. But gone never feels real. He's always near. Always dry. Always watching. Nights stretched long. Silence felt louder than voices. I heard water I hadn't turned on, dripping steady, counting me down like an executioner with infinite patience. I covered my ears, but the rhythm seeped through skin and bone. Fear hummed inside me, same as it had in prison. Some cages don't need bars, only echoes. Therapists asked, what scared you most? They expected knives or riots. I told them, showers. They frowned, scribbled notes, and moved on. They couldn't understand the weight of silence. I stopped explaining. It was easier to let it rot inside, to carry the infection of memory like contraband no one could confiscate. Rot feels familiar, almost comforting in its decay. Once, I dreamed of him again. You breathe faster, when afraid, he whispered in my sleep. I woke gasping, lungs seizing, heart racing like footsteps sprinting behind me in endless halls. Daylight offered no mercy. Sunlight hit the bathroom tiles at home, and all I saw was prison white, bleach-stained, echoing with the weight of his eyes. I couldn't shake him. People think freedom starts at the gate. Truth is, it follows you. It lives in rituals you can't quit, in fears you can't wash away. It lives most in showers, especially showers. I scrub harder than ever, chasing some kind of clean, but dirt was never the problem. Memory was, and memory doesn't rinse, no matter how raw the skin. I never learned his real name, never wanted to. The mirror was enough. He reflected panic, routines, and desperation. I hated him, I feared him, and somehow I relied on him. Steam feels heavier now, pressing on my chest, suffocating instead of cleansing. Towels don't comfort, they cling. I dry off, shaking, checking doors twice, listening for footsteps I know aren't there. But the body remembers what the mind denies. Same as inside, no difference. The prison followed me out. It just changed shape, put on wallpaper, learned how to hide. My family asks, "Are you okay?" I nod. Lie. I can't tell them their bathroom is haunted, not by ghosts, but by patterns. By repetition. By him, the man who still waits. Showers should mean relief, warmth, peace. To me, they're trials. Every droplet is a countdown. Every echo, a warning. Dread them, delay them, but the body demands water. The mind demands escape. Both lose. Sometimes I swear I see him in fogged glass, in corner shadows, in reflections dripping down mirrors. I blink, he's gone, but gone never feels real. He's always near, always dry, always watching. That's the part people don't get. Watching takes nothing, gives nothing, but it fills you with dread heavier than any blade or chain. Nights blur into days. I measure time by how long I can avoid stepping underwater. Every excuse is survival. Every excuse is also surrender. I lose either way. I sleep with lights on, but shadows still form shapes. I pretend not to see them. Pretending never saved me inside. It won't save me now. Shadows don't care about pretense. My showers last 2 minutes, maybe less. Soap barely rinses. My skin burns anyway, not from water, but from memory. I scrub, as if I can peel the past away. Friends laugh. You're paranoid, they say. I don't argue. Better to let them laugh. They never met him. Never saw dry skin in wet rooms. Never felt eyes pinning their lungs. They don't understand what it means to be studied without words, measured like cuts of meat, cataloged without consent. They'll never know, and I pray they never have to. I still hear dripping when I close my eyes. Sometimes I wake up convinced I'm back inside, waiting for my turn under the weak stream, knowing he'll be standing there. The worst part wasn't violence, not fists, not knives, not threats. It was patience. He had endless patience. And patience is sharper than any weapon when it cuts your mind. He never touched me, never shouted, never struck, yet I've never felt so dismantled. Piece by piece, stair by stair, he carved me down until I barely recognized my own shadow. I wonder sometimes what he got from it. Control? Comfort? Or was I just another tally scratched into the tile? But it didn't matter. I was part of his rhythm. Once I tried skipping showers for 3 days. My skin itched. My cellie complained. Dignity eroded faster than courage. I went back. He was there, as if he'd been waiting. His eyes slid to mine, just for a second. That second lasted hours. No threat in them, no warmth either. Just record keeping, a ledger where my name never erased. I realized then that I'd been changed. Prison wasn't shaping me with violence, but with silence. With a man who never blinked, never broke pattern, never let me forget. They say trauma carves grooves in your brain. I think he carved canyons. Deep, wide, impossible to fill. Carry them everywhere, rivers of fear that never dry. Even now, when water hisses from the shower head, I expect his voice. You always pick the corner. It echoes louder than pipes. It lands heavier than water, stains deeper. I tried counting seconds underwater, like rituals inside. It didn't help. Counting only reminded me of his words, his ledger, his patience. He could outcount anyone. He already outcounted me. My therapist once said, you project your fear onto him. Maybe. But projection doesn't follow you out the gate. Projection doesn't haunt mirrors years later. Projection doesn't breathe down your spine. He does. Or at least the idea of him does. And ideas can be prisons just as much as walls and bars. Sometimes worse, because you carry them willingly. I learned to live with it, like smuggling contraband inside your own chest. Nobody can search there. Nobody can confiscate memory. Nobody can parole you from it either. My body moves different now. Shoulders tense and steam. Eyes scan corners automatically. Even my breath waits for permission. That's what he left me. Instincts dressed as chains. Catch myself thinking, maybe he wasn't even real. Maybe prison made him up. A ghost built from fear. But ghosts don't whisper soap brands. Ghosts don't memorize your breathing. No, he was real, too real. Real enough to follow me out. Real enough to live rent-free in every shower stall I'll ever step into. Real enough to win, because he did win. I left the gate, but I never left him. He was carved into me, stitched behind my eyes, soaked into my skin like bleach that never fades. When water runs too long, I swear I hear his bare feet shifting, slow, deliberate, measured. The rhythm matches the drip, drip, drip. Each sound loops into a silence, and I freeze. I towel off too fast. Skin red, half washed. Doesn't matter. Clean is a lie when the dirt is memory. Dirt you can scrub. Memory clings harder than mildew. Sometimes I laugh, bitterly. Out of everything in prison fights, stabbings, lockdowns, the thing that broke me was a man who never touched me. A dry man in a wet room. That's the cruelty. It wasn't about action. It was about presence. His stillness ate me alive. Every second underwater was another second under his gaze. That's what prison left me. My friends tell shower jokes, all in TV lines. I force a grin. They don't know. They'll never know. I'll never tell them the truth, because truth sounds crazy. Who would believe the scariest man inside never spoke more than a sentence, never moved more than an inch, never got wet? Who would believe me? I believe, my skin believes, my chest believes every time it tightens under steam. That's enough. Belief isn't choice. And I'm still surviving, barely. Nights stretch long, showers stretch longer, fear stretches longest of all. I don't count days free, I count showers endured. That's my new calendar, carved by his patience. Sometimes I think about him standing in steam now, still waiting. Maybe with someone else. Maybe alone. Maybe just staring at an empty room. Either way, he's there. And in a way, so am I, because I never left. My body walked out, but my head, my chest, my breath, they're still trapped under his gaze, dripping forever. The sound of water is ruined for me. It doesn't cleanse, it summons. Every hiss of a faucet is his whisper returning.
Add.
Every drop is his stare sinking deeper. My girlfriend once asked why I shower in the dark. I told her it helps me relax. Truth is, it hides reflections. Truth is, it hides him. But shadows can be worse. Shapes form, outlines sharpen, imagination adds detail. Sometimes I swear he's there in the dark, closer than he ever was inside. I shut off water mid-shower sometimes, heart racing, convinced I'll hear him step forward. I wait frozen, praying silence will stay silence. Most nights it doesn't, because silence is him too. Silence was his language, his weapon, his cage. I thought prison was loud, but the loudest thing was his quiet gnawing inside my skull. That's what I try to explain when people ask. But words aren't enough. You can't explain how silence breaks bones, how stillness carves scars, how dry skin and steam destroys you. I left prison years ago, but not him. He walked out behind me, invisible, stitched to my shadow. He'll never be paroled. Neither will I. Showers remind me. Steam reminds me. Silence reminds me. Memory reminds me. And every reminder tightens the leash he slipped around my neck. He still owns me. They say healing comes with time, but time was his specialty. He outweighted me every night, outlasted my courage, outlasted my hope. Why would time heal me now? I don't live in prison anymore, but every shower puts me back there. Steam rising, bleach stinging, him standing dry, waiting. I left prison. I never left him.